Are you looking to simplify your life and enjoy more peace of mind? I'm Robin from Minimalism Over 50, and today I'm sharing 11 things I don't do as a minimalist. We'll get right into it. Number 1, I don't spend mindlessly. For clothes, I keep a buy list. While I love looking at the Boden and the J. Crew websites, I rarely buy anything. For this year, I'm hardly buying anything. I am in the middle of Project 36365, where I'm wearing 36 pieces of clothing for 365 days or a year. And so with that, I'm only really replacing the items that wear out or get ruined for some reason over the next year. We built our master bedroom onto our house with purposefully small closets, and so we just don't have a lot of room for clothes. To be honest, I like having a small wardrobe. My house is fully decorated, so I really don't buy decor. There's just not really anything that I need. Unless something wears out or breaks, like sheets or towels or some kind of a kitchen tool breaks, there's really no need for me to buy anything new. My exception to that is candles. I love candles. I buy them and I use them up. While I do keep a modest backstock on some essentials, I don't keep a huge pantry. I try to keep my grocery list to what I'm going to be using in the next week. I don't want to waste food by having to throw it away because it's gone bad. I like to have an imminent use for the items that I buy at the grocery store, meaning I'm planning it for a recipe in the next week. Also, I don't have a huge pantry for storage. While I like to have foods that we eat on hand like nuts and tuna and flour, I don't keep a huge backstock. In general, for all the stuff that I buy, because I like the house to be neat and clean and decluttered, if it's not super useful, it's going to wind up either thrown away or it's going to go to Goodwill. My husband and I are working towards financial independence. I'd way rather invest money than spend it on buying something that's going to be either thrown away or be given away. Number 2, I don't follow fashion trends, although no hate towards those who do. You do you. I love watching fashion trends. Jenna Lyons, I just can't get enough of her. That being said, I do not try to keep up. While I like to have a wardrobe that gives me the ability to feel put together and somewhat fashionable, I don't try to keep up with the trends. As in, that shoe or that heel or that color is so last year. I just don't do that. If something is not going to be a sort of trusted, true, basic that will last the next 5 to 10 years, I'm not interested. My clothing really needs to stand the test of time. While I am certainly not immune to a cute heart t-shirt or sweater, I really do limit those pieces. Most of my wardrobe is fairly neutral and classic. Number 3, we don't keep up with the latest phone models or any technology for that matter. The bottom line is that we are too frugal to keep up with the latest phone models or computer, any kind of technology. We keep our computers and phones for as long as they're working well. When they get slow or become unreliable, we replace them. Number 4, I might tick some of you off with this. We don't hold on to things out of a sense of responsibility or guilt. At the risk of sounding callous, I don't hold on to things because of the expectations of others. I had to work through this when our family got rid of 80% of our belongings. We had antiques that belonged to my family, and I also had dishes that belonged to my mom. This was a hard process. I think my mom was surprised and maybe a bit hurt that I didn't want to hold on to old dishes and furniture. I offered to send them back to her, but she didn't actually want them. She didn't have room for them either. Like I said, this was I think a hard process for my mom and me. This her wanting me to hold on to things and be the caretaker of them, but I no longer wanted to be the caretaker of them. So after I offered to ship them back and she didn't want them, I had to make a decision. I could either continue to house these items in my house that I didn't want and didn't have room for, or I could find a new owner for them, which is what I did. I chose spaciousness for our house, even if that meant that I disappointed my mom by not caring for dishes and furniture that we didn't have room for and didn't use. Number 5, we don't keep things just in case. I use the 6-6 rule. If I haven't used something in the last 6 months and don't foresee using it in the next 6 months, it's time for it to go. Another way to think about this is the rule of 20. If I can replace something for less than $20 in less than 20 minutes, I can let it go. Number 6, we don't keep up with the Joneses. Charlie and I are just nerdy and frugal. We've never been cool and we don't try to be. We drive 2 10-year-old Hondas. We just don't have the energy to try to impress neighbors or acquaintances. Number 7, we don't allow clutter. Clutter gives us both hives, and so instead of accumulating more stuff, we're always looking at what else can go. Number 8, as a minimalist, I avoid multitasking. If you've read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he talks about in that book that multitasking is actually a myth. Nobody is able to actually multitask well. So I try not to try. I try not to even attempt to multitask because I know it's a fallacy. None of us multitask well. Number 9, as a minimalist, I avoid shopping as a hobby. While I may love the way a piece of clothing looks on the size 0 model, it's not going to look like that on me. I also know that after the brief dopamine hit I get from purchasing the item, it's not going to actually make me happy. Plus, there's a good chance I'll be decluttering it anyway. Instead, I keep a buy list. Things that I need and that I know will serve me well. So for clothing, I know exactly where the holes are in my wardrobe. When I find something that I like and with a price point that I'm comfortable with, I buy it. Number 10, we don't use credit cards to buy things we can't afford. So we do use credit cards. I know the Dave Ramsey fans might be coming after me for this. Don't knock it. We bought 4 plane tickets to Mexico 2 years ago for our family with credit card points. So if you're tempted to carry a balance, then I would agree with the Dave Ramsey philosophy. Don't have credit cards. We don't carry a balance. We pay our credit cards off every month. Also, we save up for big purchases ahead of time. So we save for years to buy our next car so that the next time we're purchasing a car, we can pay cash for it. Number 11 is probably the biggest, and that is don't avoid the big decisions. So sometimes the biggest decisions are the ones that can have the biggest impact. Cars, houses, what city to live in. These big decisions can often move the needle most for getting ahead financially. We chose to move to a cheaper city and live in a less expensive house in order to move ahead financially and to simplify our lives with the hope of being able to slow down a bit. It's been 10 years since we made those big decisions to lower what we needed to live on, and we are still very, very grateful. When we moved to Portland, we purposefully bought a smaller house so that we could downscale. So much stems from that decision to buy a smaller house. It's just less. Less to insure, less to maintain, less to clean. What about you? I'd love to hear the things you avoid or don't do. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe and follow along. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps people find my content. If you enjoyed this video, you may enjoy this one as well, where I talk about 9 frugal habits I'm enjoying right now.